You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up the better. Put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the fourth part of What If Deku Becomes King and Gets 13 Princess Harem. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Mad Hat 886 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Cyberpunk 2077. Due to the severe effects of global climate change, sections of Antarctica have been made warm enough for human settlement, leading to gradual industrialization and ecological blight along the way. Antarctica, according to news media, is implied to be relatively safe by world standards in 2077, with a homicide rate of 70 per 100,000 people, and is also known as a dumping ground for waste produced by various countries. Is where Beige first showed up, where his garbage trucks and robots collected the trash that had been dumped by other waste management companies. A benefiting arrangement, where the other waste management companies would dump their trash in their landfills and his trucks would empty them out so they won't overflow with trash, allowing them to bring in more trash. A morbidly obese man, who has replaced his legs with 4 spider-like legs on a contraption and has 2 metal arms on the back of the contraption that he moves around on. He quickly became known as the garbage man, running the best-run waste disposal company in the world, Cyclonian Waste Disposal, or CWD. Little is known about him besides him saying he was toss away when he was young and learned that people throw away lots of valuable stuff, which is just there for the taking, and garbage is power. Unknown to the rest of the world, Beige came from a world full of mutants created by some green stuff. He was found after his sub was sent down into a deep part of a river and now works for the Cyclonian Empire. They go to worlds that are dead or abandoned and collect the resources and technology that's been left behind. But in other cases like this cyberpunk world, collect the garbage that the people of the world throw away. And is where he comes in, being an expert in waste management. While he does sell the recycled goods to companies for a profit, he sends most of the recycled goods to Cyclonian through the portal. While he doesn't like having to work for someone else, he can't say he doesn't like the benefits. Namely, having a robot workforce besides his own people who continue to work for him, even now in another world. Working with him is Dr. Barbara Babs Blight, from a world with a group of eco-heroes who can summon an elemental guardian of their world. She looks over the technology that people toss away and figure out how they work, even improving on the design, with the help of her computer companion Mal. She also replaced her ruined left side of her face and missing eye with a cybernetic implant. Harold also has dealings in the black market in selling real meat, fruits, and vegetables. Which, thanks to so many wars ruining farmlands and plagues killing off most of the animals and making them too sick to eat, most people only eat synthetic foods, with only the rich being able to eat real food. And thanks to being able to open a portal to another world where real food can be brought over, Harold is able to show off his wealth and make power plays. When Harold shows up at any corporate parties, he makes a big show by bringing his own food of real food to the party. He knew it was a pig party, so he showed up the female corp who invited him by bringing a whole roast pig. A 500 PND roast pig with a real apple in its mouth, for all the other guests to enjoy. And to make a statement that, he's able to bring in real food, from who knows where. Unlike the tiny proportions that are offered by the host corporation, he's able to bring in large amounts of real food to the party. He brought a huge wedding cake to a wedding, made with real ingredients. He brought in a whole flock of fried chicken to a party. Enough steak with onions and potatoes for all the guests in another party. Enough pork chops with potatoes at another party. He even put on an apron and chef hat, manning the grill as he cooked burgers with real beef patties at one party, with fries on the side. The party guests all had to line up for their burgers. But bear with it, as for many it's the first time they had real beef burgers and fries. To the point where corporations invited him to not only try to outdo him in real food but also some counting on him bringing in real food to the party. Earning Harold Beige a huge amount of reputation and power in the corporate world. Even with the workers for his recycling centers, thanks to the fact that his cafeterias for the workers to eat during their lunch breaks, serve real food as well. The Arasaka Corporation tried to outdo him once, with Saburo Arasaka personally invited him to the HQ of his company in Japan. With him using his power and wealth to bring in a grand feast of real food for the party. Which Harold showed him up by bringing in an entire old-fashioned American Thanksgiving dinner. Even bringing in a feast for the Arasaka workers in their cafeteria, as well as the bodyguards and security forces. Needless to say, Harold showed up Saburo at his own party. Harold presented Arasaka with a surprise present afterwards, a potted tangerine tree, which was thought to have all died out. Harold explained that you'd be surprised at what's thrown away and only takes some time and effort to dig up. The tangerine tree is now in Arasaka's private greenhouse in his ancestral home, and the seeds are carefully harvested and grown to be sold. Making all wonder how much is Harold actually holding back, where he can afford to give away such a valuable gift. The other corporations all tried to hack into his personal files but found it to be impossible. His personal computers aren't connected to the net, and while he does have some implants, he doesn't have an uplink at all. Him saying that he doesn't trust having his brain uploaded into the cyberspace and just does it the old-fashioned way. You can't hack someone who doesn't have one or be zapped by anything either, as he's in front of a computer, not his mind inside of it. The same went with Dr. Blight, who has work done on her body but left her brain cyber-free. Making it very difficult for anyone to learn about anything about the two. There are some tidbits of information that spies learned. It seems that Mr. Beige has a backer who he's working for from some talk around his main recycling center where he and his workers who have been with him since he first showed up all work at. Who all stay in the South Pole and never leaving. The other recycling centers in other countries are all run by middlemen and local hirers. Night City. The Night City Municipal Landfill is located on the eastern outskirts of Night City, mostly in the Red Peaks region of the Badlands. The junkyard is the official disposal area of Night City. It fills most of the southern half of the Red Peaks area, and a small portion of the Rocky Ridge region's southwestern section. The landfill also pours into the empty basin to the southwest, between the two dams, and partially to Santo Domingo itself, beyond the highway bridge, into a small neighborhood. And where a new CWD recycling center was built. One of the Wally robots, while collecting trash to compress, found a body underneath some metal sheets. Its scanners showed something of interest inserted into the body's brain that is repairing the body and bringing it back to life. It sent out an alert and more robots came to help dig the body out and load it into a truck. Amphibia. Marcy Wu gasped for breath as she sat up from her sweat-soaked bed. She tossed the covers off of her as she hugs her legs to her chest. The same dream that has been plaguing her. She's been seeing doctors, but how could it ever be better when the reason it all happened is her fault? The dream isn't a dream but a memory of that day, that left its mark on the city of Los Angeles. Where she and the others were reunited with. Marcy began sobbing as she broke down and wept. The city of Los Angeles looks like something out of a big action movie that the city is known for. Robots that designed to look like frogs are attacking the city, along with two giant herons with control collars on them. A ground battle is happening on the streets of LA with the police doing their jobs and getting people to safety and holding positions to give them time to escape. The National Guard have been called as well as any military forces in the city to fight the invaders. Military aircraft were launched to attack the flying castles where the robots are coming out of and are armed with energy cannons that are raining destruction on the city below. The jets had to deal with the firepower from the flying castles, robots, both the frogs and dragonfly-like ones. The air combat sent human aircraft and robot parts raining down on the city, with some crashing into buildings. Inside the main castle, the three human girls and Bunshui, Sasha Waybright, and Marcy were facing off against the commander of the invasion force, the Corps, who is the boy Izuku Midoriya. Who is now dressed in black power armor, a multiple-eye helmet, a black cape and wielding an energy scythe. They had all thought him dead, at the hands of King Andreas, who they already beaten and sent falling to the ground below. That battle had used up the blue power-up form of N and unable to use it anymore. Only for Izuku to show up, like a hidden boss after you already beaten the big bad. Marcy rolled on the ground to a stop having been tossed by the core, who looked over her and brought down his weapon on her. Izuku, don't do this, and shouted as she blocks the energy scythe with her sword and punched the core away with her buckler shield, which Izuku had pointed out that she using only one sword should carry a shield to protect herself with. And threw her shield at the core who blocked it, and the shield was reeled back to and by a snake-like lasso, that's wrapped around her shield arm. Why do you keep talking like I'm the Izuku you remember? He was already dead when we recover him and made the prefect vessel for us. His brain was still intact, allowing us to see the worlds he has traveled to, the core said as he blocks the twin swords of Sasha, followed by a third sword swinging by a sash at the core forcing him to jump back to avoid it. Then we'll avenge him, Sasha shouted as she launched her attack. The three exchanged a flurry of blows as both N and Sasha tried to get through his defense. Both N and Sasha used every trick they learned from their adventure in the frog world and what they learned from Izuku, in the short time they were with him. But the core could predict their moves and react faster than they could move. It would only be a matter of time before they get tried and make a mistake. Marcy, both N and Sasha screamed as Marcy appeared out of nowhere and let herself be impaled by the energy scythe into her stomach. Which she clutched the weapon, keeping the core from swinging it again. Got you, Marcy said as she fires her last bomb arrow from her wrist crossbow into the core's forehead. As Izuku had told her about a superhero in one of the worlds he went to, who uses trick arrows, which got her to make her own. The bomb arrow damaged the delicate circuits in the helmet that allowed all the minds to connect together, causing the control of the robots and attack animals to shut down. And then Sasha followed suit and drove their swords into the core's body. With and following through with her slamming her buckler into his face, sending the helmet flying off of Izuku's head. Revealing his real face, dull and almost lifeless as the spark of life left him. The girls all stared at Izuku's turned faces, turning to horror and grief at what they had to do. Izuku had met all of them and did what he could to help them get back home. And each of them had fallen for him as he had no reason to help them and could leave any time he wanted with that portal gun of his, but he stayed to help them. Even gifting them magic items like out of a video game. And got the lasso Boa Boa, can transform into a live snake that can either attack enemies or whose body can be used like a strong lasso. Sasha got the third arm sash, which acts like a very long third arm for the user. Marcy got the shroud of shadows that she uses as her hooded cloak, that lets her turn invisible. You killed me again, Izuku said looking at Marcy. Amphibia / the owl house / gravity falls / pepper and earth. Marcy gasped as she opened her eyes, her bed soaked with night terror sweat. She rolled off of her bed, peeling her night shirt off, soaked with sweat, and flung it to a pile of dirty clothes. Only dress in her BR and panties, Marcy stumbled in the dark as she found the light SWCH to the desk lamp and SWCH it on. In front of her are photos and documents of all the strange happenings around the states. With what happened in LA and how there's a black market of the advanced weapons and robots that were recovered in the aftermath, lots of things had changed. Knowledge that different dimensions are real has become common knowledge, and things that would have been dismissed before are now being looked at and investigated more closely. Mr. X had helped them with the aftermath, but they did have to hand over the magic items that Izuku gave them over to him for safekeeping. The gems are also being kept safe with research being done to them in a lab somewhere. A portal to Amphibia sent almost everything back. The government is very interested in the advanced technology. Which also saved her life thanks to the healing tank in the castle. Marcy looks at the scar on her stomach, wondering why she's alive while Izuku isn't. Marcy sat down at the messy deck and opens a drawer, pulling out the scanner. Izuku had shared the technology he also picked up from his travels and is making tons advancements in her world. The builder device has really changed things, along with the blueprints to make a spaceship. Even in death Izuku had left his mark. Marcy looks at her emails hoping for an email from Terry. She's still working on the portal machine, now working for the government. Which she is also working for, as she's the one that knows how the technology that Izuku gave her and the girls work. Marcy looks at the photo of her, the girls and Izuku. I will find a way to reach your homeworld, Izuku. It's the least I can do, and tell your mother, I'm the one who killed you, the first and second time, Marcy said, wishing that she's the one who died. Equestria. Golden sunlight poured into a golden room through window glass, casting a bright glow over crimson curtains and ruby-colored sheets. A crisp, gentle morning breeze blew in from the spacious balcony, stirring the aromatic presence of roses and lavender, and bringing with it the fresh smell of oak and pine, but along with the vigorous scent of nature there was also the RSNG stench of pleasure, SEC, and wanton bacchanalia. Slowly life stirred within the comfortable, fragrant sanctuary, as the firm and nubile bodies of several healthy young women roused from sleep, all of them either naked or clad in the skimpiest of lingerie. Show off their slender for two of them, or buxom for the rest bodies, that would only grow as they get older. So, Sunset said, looking down at Lark, who had visited Equestria with her kunoichi bodyguards. So what? Lark asked, laying naked against Sunset, who is also naked, her slender body pressing up against Sunset's much more buxom body. I proven the ranking of us, me on top and you under me, Sunset smirks, causing Lark to blush and growl. I will prove I'm the top, Lark said, glaring at Sunset. Until then, I show you your place underneath me as I ravish you, Sunset said. Sunset has been having SEC with her herd longer than you have been learning with us, Hamura said, as she and the other kunoichis are sprawled about Sunset's room with the bodyguards of said princess. Bonding through SEC is a normal thing around here, Sugarcoat said, who is being used by Hamura as a pillow. So who should we invite? Sunset asked Lark. We could invite Adora and her girls, Lark said. She and Katra are already having SEC with each other, Sunset said. Or we can team up on Cleopatra, and after we're done, the girls can take their turn, Lark said. Like how we all ganged up on you, Sunset smirked. That wasn't fair, Lark said. As if you complained as we were all over you, Lemon Zest said from where she's laying with the sisters Ryobi and Ryona using her huge melons as pillows. And you did lose to Sunset, and you did agree that the loser who submits to the winner is everyone's toy, Juniper Montage said, who is laying with Miyabi. You all know that once Izuku joins in on the night fun, we can't just do this to him. Ganging up on him will be fun, but unlike us girls, there's no way he would be able to handle orgasming more than I'm going with 5 tops before he's spent, Sunny Flare said, who is with Yomi. When we were planning on using SEC to get Izuku to talk, we would be using drags and ninja jutsus to keep him going, Yomi said. Who has Izuku for the weekend? Sour Sweet asked. Zelda, Sunset said, as during Saturday and Sunday with no school, the princesses would take turns to have Izuku to themselves. The girls of their groups would join them, Zelda like Ruby and Cleopatra, while both Zelda and Cleopatra do have handmaidens, Ruby does too if you count a Miss Nanny robot. They don't have ones who are in love with Izuku. But it does leave them open for to have girls who are in love with Izuku to join them as their handmaidens. Yoa, who left her world to be an exchange student, to get to know Izuku again and decide if she wants to join the HRM, has been hanging out with Ruby a lot. Elle and her sisters, Rose, Teal, Lapis, Sienna, Violet, and Marigold, have been hanging out with Zelda as they wanted to learn about using magic, which the magic that Zelda uses can be learned. They in turn are helping her to learn about things she has been having trouble learning, like learning the different manners and cultures which she, coming from a magical world, has trouble time learning. Like Star when she first got to Earth, and stayed with a boy named Marco whose family has been taking in exchange students before her. Where she met Izuku and they helped Marco get together with the girl he liked but never talked to before. Bloom had been helping both Star and Zelda as she had to do the same with her friends when they first went to Earth. What you think she's going to do with him? Lark asked. Something fun, I guess, Sunset said. In the lands of Hyrule, years after the defeat of Ganondorf and the rebuilding of the kingdom, the landscape still retains scars from those dark times, there are still openings that lead down into the depths of the earth, and floating in the sky are the Sky Islands. But thanks to the old technologies of the ancient Sheikah and Zonai, the robots, the guardians and constructs now under control, help to rebuild the destroyed kingdom. Thanks to the Zornai devices that can be put together to make vehicles and other useful devices, allowed the rebuilding of the kingdom to go much faster. Transports were made that allowed people to travel safer and load up carts of goods. And that was before Izuku came to the world with his advanced technology and shared it with the people of the kingdom. Now the people of the kingdom now have flying vehicles allowing people to explore the Sky Islands, and underwater vehicles that allow them to explore the depths of the sea. Allowing the Hylians, who are elf-like race with their pointy ears, and the Sheikah, who are a subgroup who like Hylians are elf-like with white hair and lighter skin, to spread out and fight back the monsters that used to roam the lands. Thanks to the BLD Red Moon no longer bringing them back to life, allowing them to be hunted and stay dead. Forcing them to live in out-of-the-way places. They use the easy-to-construct buildings to quickly rebuild the lost settlements and farmlands. The other races have also improved their living standards, using the easy-to-construct buildings and vehicles. The floating islands have been settled by the Rito tribe of bird-like humanoids. They make their home in the windy canyons of the Tabantha subregion of Hebra, settling on the larger islands. With them already being able to fly and able to withstand the cold temperatures of some of the islands, they have taken to living on the islands. They have also taken up riding switchblades while traveling in the skies, as well as traveling in larger aircrafts that allow them to travel to other lands and opening up trade routes. Zoras are a race of aquatic humanoids who dwell in the great rivers that run from the Lanayru Mountains. Using the machines that are made to work underwater, outposts and settlements have been established in the seas. The underwater vehicles allow them to bring up lots of resources and other goods from the seas. They have established trade routes where ships are able to travel. Gerudo, a race of large muscular humans consisting entirely of women. They make their home in the desert that is named after their tribe. With easy-to-construct buildings, they have expanded their walled city with a second city built nearby where, unlike the old city, the new city is where Avo, or men, can enter, where fathers can meet their daughters. Which has become a major trade center once the new trade routes were established. Using the vehicles that can travel the vast desert, allowed them to travel further and faster than riding sand seals could. They still use the seals to help find watering holes where outposts are built with tall radio towers to help guide travelers from the lands beyond the desert. Thus allows them a proud merchant race to prosper. Gorons, a race of large rock-like humanoids who make their home near the volcanic Death Mountain in the Elden region. With them being able to survive in places that other races can't, have began to settle in the underground world, once the first elevators and rail carts leading down were built. Using the mining equipment and other tools, the Gorons have established mining colonies underground, digging up more ore, rocks, and gems to sell to other races. Thanks to the fact that they hate gemstones as they taste terrible. Hyrule Castle. With the old castle completely unusable and too expensive to rebuild, the new castle has been built in the center of the old castle town, which was rebuilt around the castle. Not as grand as the old castle, Queen Zelda was happy with it as her people needed her leadership to rebuild the kingdom back to how it was before. She married her husband Ronan, the second prince of the Alundra kingdom from across the sea, to establish good relationships with the kingdom and have connections to other lands. Now, thanks the future king, Izuku not only going to marry Princess Zelda when they come of age, but also 12 other princesses. Many of the building projects that had been put off for later once other projects were finished could be handled by the help of the future in-laws. The old castle that was left floating in the air, has been lowered back down to the ground and is being rebuilt, thanks to an army of construction robots from the Nile Kingdom. Mom is making sure that there aren't any more surprises underneath the castle. Two big events that causes chaos for the kingdom in one lifetime is too much, Zelda said to Izuku, who is in her room with her new handmaidens, Elle and her sisters, Rose, Teal, Lapis, Sienna, Violet, and Marigold. Seeing how she doesn't have handmaidens who are close to her and in love with Izuku. She made them hers and is teaching them magic while they teach her as well. Things really changed since I was last here, Izuku said as he and Zelda sat together, namely her sitting on him while he's sitting on a chair. Which all the girls have been doing to him. Okay, I think we got everything, Lapis said, walking over to the two as she and her sisters have been making a checklist of the magical items that Izuku picked up, namely the dragon ring that separated them into 7 bodies and where it is. After Izuku told them that he lost it, Secundo showed them a list of the magical items that he had with him taken from that world and what happened to them. The only remaining magic items that Izuku has from that world that was given back to him or he gave away. Ninja Sash, that allows the user to create up to 2 doubles of themselves. Danger Sneakers. That warn its user of impending danger. Wings of Tanabe, grants the user the power to fly like an eagle, leaving behind a rainbow vapor trail. Wushu Helmet, protects the user's head by deflecting attacks and projectiles. Rio Reverso, reverts a target back to its original form, such as turning oil into dinosaurs. Been damaged and needs to be repaired to be use. Gills of Hamachi, allows the user to breathe underwater, transforming them into a fish-like being in the process. So why did you all wanted to know about it? Izuku asked. We were wondering if the ring was still around and if it could merge us all back together, L said. You all want to be one again? Izuku asked, shocked, looking at L, Rose, Teal, Lapis, Sienna, Violet, and Marigold. You really didn't give us a choice if we wanted to be separated, Sienna said. We're still mad that you left us like that, Teal said. I should have just talked to you all about it before I did it, Izuku said. At least now, we can just gang up on you, Mark Gold grins. You can have him wash you in the bath like the rest of us, Zelda said, after Lark told them that Izuku is continuing his duty of washing her when she has a bath and he's around. They all wanted in. You do? Violet asked as the rest of her sisters blush at the thought of Izuku's hands running up and down their bodies. I do wash Piper and you all know how ill she is, Izuku said. But seeing how you're going to marry us and how you were a clueless idiot to love. You washing us in the bath is the least you can do to help make up to us, Zelda said. You going to marry 13 princesses and their handmaidens, is something out of a HRM manga or anime, Lapis said. Way out of your league, but somehow you're going to be king to 13 kingdoms, Rose adds. And having to do so many royal duties, Izuku said as he's been learning what his duties as king has in store for him. Father helps mother in her workload, and domestic affairs, Zelda said. By the way, with this being a magical land, I was kind of expecting for more magical items than what Izuku has, L said. The only magic items that Izuku has from Zelda's kingdom are Goron's bracelet, that increases the user's strength. Fire rod, that cast fire spells. Ice rod, that cast ice spells. Well, seeing how we had 2 back-to-back world-changing events happening, lots of things were either lost or destroyed, Zelda said. And her Uncle Link had already found lots of magical items and tools before I got here, Izuku said. Anything else you have picked up that's magical? L asked. There's the balance ring, it protects me from confusion, Izuku said. Secundo, what does Izuku have left that is magical? Zelda asked the AI. Let's see, Secundo said, making a screen with a list of the items that are left. Potions that have gone bad. 1 wand left from the witch school that Mildred Hubble goes to. Glow ring, emits a constant light. From Stardew Valley. Wait, potions can go bad? Rose asked. Yes, potions if aren't used can go bad, only a few potions don't go bad and those are few, Zelda explains. Many of the magic items that I encountered need a source of magic to be used, and once spent needs to be recharged, but only with that type of magic of the world it came from. So I stopped grabbing magic items and just went with tech. Besides, with how often they were destroyed or lost during the trips to other worlds, replacing a laser gun was just easier than magic items, and easier to use, Izuku said. Easier is right, Zelda said as her kingdom is quickly going back to how it used to be, largely thanks to Izuku's technology. The robot workforce have quickly repaired much of the ruins back to how Mother and the other long-lived races remember how it used to be. Amphibia / the Owl House / Gravity Falls / Pepper N, Earth. In several rooms of government buildings, computer screens turned on for a video chat to several different states at once. In the LA, California, office are in Bunshui, Sasha Waybright, and Marcy Wu, who have been called together by Mr. X, who has also brought together other groups of interest found in the states, with the screens giving some information about them. Piedmont, California. Dipper and Mabel Pines. Both dealt with strange events in a small town in Oregon called Gravity Falls. Dealt with a dream demon by the name of Bill Cipher. New Orleans, Louisiana Fright Crow. Soleil Leclerc, Power Pyrokinetic. John Pat Patterson, ability to communicate with anyone and understand anything they say. Will maybe Satchel, becoming invisible and talking with the dead. Stanley Rodriguez Jones, power allows him to gain knowledge about anything he touches. Missy Dallasay, power super strength and a type of werewolf called a Rougarou. They dealt with a demon named Belial, with the help of other supernatural creatures and voodoo Loa. Gravesfield, Connecticut. Camila Nocita. Luz Nocita. V. Nocita, a basilisk who feeds on magic and change her shape. They dealt with a portal to other dimension leading to the Boiling Isles, which is the massive skeleton of a titan. Like a whale fall, where an ecosystem forms on the remains of a dead whale that falls to the bottom of the sea. Where all sorts of beings out of myth and legends roam and magic. River Fork, Texas. Gentry Chow vs. the Underworld. Gentry Chow, mystical pyrokinetic abilities. Mooney Chow. Ed, is an undead, shape-shifting creature known as a jiangshi, also known as Chinese hopping vampire. They dealt with a demon, a Mogwai with other beings from different underworlds. Brighton, North Dakota. The Ghost and Molly McGee. Molly McGee, is able to separate her soul from her body, becoming a wraith. As you all can see, after the whole invasion with the robots from the amphibian world of frogs, toads, newts and others, the government has taken steps in finding out if anything else has been going on, and we found all of you, Mr. X said to the assembled teens. Mr. X waves to the twins. We already located your uncles and figured out the whole mind wipe with that memory gun on the agent sent to the town earlier. We already have the portal and learned about the opening to the Nightmare Realm with Bill Cipher and his gang of demons trying to take over. Bill Cipher. Ed shouted out. He's real. V screamed out as she hugs Camila. So you too heard of him, Mr. X said. Know him? He's a monster and I'm a undead vampire, Ed said. There are old stories of how he tried to get the people of the Isles to make a portal before a group of witches managed to banish his shadow away from the Isles, V said. Don't worry, we took care of him, Mabel said. Our Uncle Stan trapped his mind in his and erased his mind with his, Dipper explains. That's all well and good, but keeping it all secret could have gone bad, which is why I called all of you here. With how Earth has been placed in danger with it either being local or universal, from what I've been told what Bill and his gang would have caused. Working in secret can't be the norm anymore. How much easier would it have been with some backup? Mr. X asked the different groups. We barely stopped the Corps who lead the invasion, hiding everything from the government didn't help one bit. And in the past, they had conquered other worlds like this one and strp'd it of their resources, Marcy said, bringing up screens of some of the worlds that were conquered before. Some of the worlds were less advanced, a world where humanoid bears with advanced technology lived alongside humans in a middle-aged world. Gummy bears. A world that had superheroes but fell to the endless army of robots. Dexter's Laboratory and Powerpuff Girls. The only reason we won was because the robot army and technology had been out of power for over 1,000 years after the main power source was taken from the core. The technology was old and falling apart and only had a few weeks of running again before they launched the invasion, and said. And seeing how a superhero world with giant robots weren't a match for them at full power. We need to organize and not hope that a rag band of kids who suddenly gained powers or learned about a whole hidden world will be able to handle the next big crisis, Sasha said. Let's cut to the chase. I'm Nick Fury and looking for some people with abilities and knowledge that can be helpful in the future. Child LBR laws won't allow me to hire you all now. But internships for those who are old enough and some helpful government programs for agreeing to join when you're of age, can be provided, Mr. X said. Causing the different groups to talk among themselves. Cool, we can be a government-sponsor heroes, Molly said with stars in her eyes. Also there's another matter, Mr. X said making a photo of Izuku Midoriya appear on the screen. Izuku? Molly and Luz asked. Mr. Midoriya, for those who didn't know, was a traveler using a portal gun that opens portals to other dimensions, looking for his way home. He met with girls with me in the frog world. Which, seeing how the technology and robots he had with him also showed up with Ms. McGee and Nocita. I'm going with his portal gun, sending him to the Boiling Isles and this Earth, Mr. X said. How is he? Luz asked. He's dead, and Sasha killed him. He was taken over and used as a puppet by the Corps after King Andreas stabbed him and recovered his body, Marcy said. What? Luz asked, eyes wide. Stab? You mean that huge scar on his chest? Molly asked. You saw it? And asked. Yeah, me and the others saw it, and he said he got it helping some friends he made to escape from a giant newt king, Molly said. He survived? Sasha asked, her mind racing like the others. Marcy was taking deep breaths and her mind raced in the possibilities. Namely that either the Izuku is another one from another timeline or, Izuku is still alive. In the Moon Palace, Izuku is once again being hosted by the royal princess Usagi. Who is with her royal handmaidens, who are all the royal princesses of the other planets of the solar system, Ami, Rei, Makoto, Minako, Haruka, Michiru, and Hataru. The Moon Kingdom was one that was all magical when Izuku showed up on the rocket-flying USS Constitution that is manned by a host of fusion-powered robots. Shaking up in what the people of the kingdom thought was possible. Non-magical technology was around before Izuku and his robot crew showed up, but they were simple things found on Earth where not many magic users lived on. Earth is the farm planet of the kingdom where most of the food came from. The technology are all farm-based, windmills, water wheels, for the farmers to be able to feed the rest of the solar system. With magic users only being called in to help during hard times to keep up the food production. Izuku and his robot crew changed all that as the advanced science-based technology could do the job mages did, easier. As while magic is capable of wonderful feats, magic is very hard to perform, and only a few people can use it at all. Technology can be used by anybody, provided much more convenient ways of doing things, and inventions like light bulbs made spells to light magical fires obsolete. Izuku also pointed out that one anti-magic spell or attack would leave the entire kingdom helpless. We still have our magic tech, but we now have backups in case of any anti-magic, Ami explains to Izuku and has been explaining what has happened since he was last here. Those atomic robots are low-tech in many ways, but they're made to last. Made harvesting gas from the planet easier, Haruka said. Her planet Uranus, being a gas planet, made it impossible to live on but is very valuable for the gases that could be harvested from it. Floating mining colonies dot the surface of the gas planet, where the gases are collected and processed before being transported to the moons where the people of Uranus live on. It's dangerous work and many miners die each solar cycle, thanks to the storms and the native animal life found living in the clouds of the gas planet. The new robots made to last, are able to work in the dangerous conditions that cost many lives, and are cheaper to have them run mining operations. With some human workers to oversee the mining operation in case of something wrong happening. And made mining asteroids easier, Michiru adds. Things have really changed since I was last here, Izuku said, remembering how he and his crew on the Constitution had caused a big scene when they portaled in on this universe's Earth. The farming equipment and new plants you brought over really helped out on Earth, Makoto said. Earth is the farming planet for the solar system, where most of the food is grown. The scanners, builders and fabricators are now a standard issue on all spacecrafts. The logs of that survivor who built that base you found, really showed what those tools are able to do in the hands of someone who knows how to use them. Building a spaceship that can travel to other galaxies just by using what resources he could find is amazing, Hataru said. I was hoping that I could use the machines to get home, but it seems that finding a world where portal technology to other universes is rare, Izuku said. We've been trying to find that world you went to, but so far nothing. The race that built all those ruins, their technology would really advance us, Ray said. Those ion cubes, once the eggheads figured out how to make the machines that make them, really changed things. So much power in such small cubes, Minako said. The only problem is the amount of energy needed to make even one cube, Izuku said. Izuku, I also have a surprise for you. Thanks to the lessons from the robot cooks, I'm prepared to cook, Usagi was saying, but found her room emptied of her guests. Hallway. Serenity walked with the other queens of her court to her daughter's room, to see how they are doing when Izuku and the other princesses expect for her daughter came running down the hallway. They all ran past them expecting for Hataru, who ran into her mother and clung to her. She's cooking again. Hataru screamed out as she hugs her mom for protection. All the queens looked to Serenity with a flat look, who sighed. I know, I tell her to stop before someone has to have their stomach pumped, again, Serenity said to her fellow queens. Cyberpunk 2077. Inside her laboratory, Barbara Babs Blight is working on creating 2 new synth bodies for her 2 subjects. The guy found in the landfill is a merc known as V, from what information could be gathered on him. Having a gunshot wound to the head that should have killed him, but it didn't, thanks to a biochip in his head regenerating his brain. The catch is that the biochip has the copy of Johnny Silverhand / Robert John Linder in it. Dr. Blight managed to take the biochip out and separate the 2 personalities apart, thanks to the advanced technology of the Nile Galaxy and from that superhero world with all the advanced technologies both from Earth and from aliens. Of course the cost was V's original body, but she could just grow a new body for him using his DNA from the synth tank. She's been keeping both of them in a VR world, of an apartment with tons of entertainment for them while she works on fixing them in the real world. She had explained how they were found and why she had to put them into the VR world. The biochip, while it did bring both of them back, in the end one of them would be erased. So she pulled them apart, but V's original body is now too damaged to fix. She allowed them to design their new bodies, as she's using them to test a new way to give people a second chance at life. While they are copies in a sense, did it really matter to them? Which didn't matter to them. Johnny still has some things he still needs to take care of. They are amazed at the synth bodies, as V had heard of Dr. Blight on the news but thought that she worked in waste management, not biotechnology. Which Dr. Blight said that she just does that for the money and resources. Not telling them that it's from another universe like she and Harold are. The synth technology came from the world that went through a nuclear war that left the world in ruins. 3rd-generation synthetics represent the pinnacle of synth technology, being virtually indistinguishable from natural-born humans right down to the cellular level. Each Gen 3 synth is built from lab-grown bones, muscles, and other tissues that are assembled and brought to life at the Institute's robotics lab, and are born with the bodies and mental faculties of full-grown adult humans. Though entirely biological, each Gen 3 synth contains a neurological implant inside their brain, allowing them to be programmed and manipulated via voice commands. This implant cannot be detected or removed without killing the synth. Synths can also have additional components installed, such as neuroservos and other implants. Generation 3 synths are physically and mentally indistinguishable from ordinary humans, having lab-grown bodies of real human flesh, bones, and organs instead of plastic and metal. As no medical tests or procedures can identify someone as a synth without killing them and finding a synth component inside of them. However, they are not perfect duplicates and have a few key differences from humans that are not immediately obvious. Synths do not age, not require sleep, and will not normally gain or lose weight. "Hey Doc, how is Silverhands?" a giant of a woman asked, named Rebecca, walking up behind the doctor who is working at a computer terminal. "He's doing well, as is V," Dr. Blight said. "Going faster than it was with me," Rebecca said. "I had more to work with. I still don't understand how your head ended up in that preserving jar. But it did let me experiment on transferring minds into synth bodies," Dr. Blight said. "Yeah, and I now have a bigger and badder body than I had before," Rebecca said, who now stands at over 9 feet tall. She has a powerful Amazon body that's ripped with muscles and have a pair of J-cup-sized melons that are firm and jiggly, a killer peach that's big and firm that you can bounce a coin off of. She was small and had a childlike body before she died. Now she has an advanced Super CC Amazon body, which she's showing off by just walking around in just a black BR and panties like she did before. Do you have to walk around like that? Dr. Blight asked. What? I'm wearing slippers, Rebecca said. And you're supposed to be my bodyguard, Dr. Blight said. To repay bringing me back to life, Rebecca said. And those combat upgrades I gave you, Dr. Blight adds. How soon will Silverhand be out and about? Rebecca asked. A month at best, as there are still some work to be done, Dr. Blight said. So what are you going to be asking them to do for you to repay for your work? Rebecca asked. For Silvera, might ask him to get the band back together to my new album. For V, having another agent in Night City will be nice, Dr. Blight said. And I can join Silverhand's new crew, Rebecca said. Stepping out of the portal into an alleyway, Izuku stepped back into the city of Paris, of a world he had promised himself that he would never return to. He wasn't alone, as Wonder Woman, Batgirl, Green Lantern, Zatanna, Supergirl, Bumblebee, and Harley Quinn in civilian clothing are also with him. They came to this world to see if there isn't a way to contact the soul of Khloe Bourgeois, who, unlike all of the other girls in love with Izuku, went and just told him that she loves him. Khloe had seen him coming out of a portal and help him by keeping him hidden in her father's hotel. Izuku stayed for some weeks learning about the world and did his research in finding a way to get back home, while Khloe got to play around with some of the advanced technology Izuku still had on him. And like many girls that spend time with Izuku and get to know him as he does with them, developed feelings for him. Unfortunately, the other girls of Khloe's class also fell for him and caused her to be very protective of him, especially with Lila. When Lila kidnapped Izuku, Khloe had tried to get help from the other heroes, but they wouldn't help her, leaving her to go and save Izuku using his tech to fight the Akuma-powered Lila. Ending with Lila impaled and on fire, while Izuku carried Khloe's body out of the burning building, who told him that she loves him before she died. We go to her grave and see if there is an afterlife in this universe, Izuku said to the young heroines, leading them to the nearby cemetery. He didn't want to open a portal in the cemetery in case there was a service and there be lots of people. Looking around, Izuku noticed things have changed from what he remembered of the city. He gave Khloe some gadgets while he was staying with her, which he never did take back after her death. From the looks of things, her father Andre the mayor had found the gadgets, and now the advanced technology has spread. Izuku tried to keep advanced technology he picked up from falling to the wrong hands. But then again, this world does have superheroes and self-aware robots. This plan of yours, bringing this Khloe back as a ghost and make a clone body of her and have her use it as a new body? Zatanna asked. Well, seeing how death is cheap in your universe where people can come back to life. Bonding a ghost to a new body to have a new life, isn't that far-fetched, Izuku said. Possession is a thing, Green Lantern said. But can a ghost bond to a clone body of themselves? Also, what about the clone? Batgirl asked. The clone be like the ones in Cleopatra's world. Have no high brain functions or just mindless. But we could use a synth body. Have to ask Khloe, knowing her she would like to make some improvements, Izuku said. Like how some improvements be done to you? Harley teased. Yes, like what's going to happen with me, Izuku said, as the girls want him to have some genetic engineering done on him to improve his body. Not to mention allow him to be able to handle having so many wives. The medical technology of Cleopatra's world is highly advanced, and lots of things that are common treatments there, are either highly expensive or unheard of in other universes, Bumblebee said. Reminds me of Krypton. We had super sophisticated medical technology where lots of mortal wounds are little more than minor injuries by our medical standards. We all went to a checkup there and some of us are better than ever, Supergirl said. Taking care of one's body is always important, Wonder Woman said. And giving Izuku a PP and stamina that will break our brains and we'll be craving it for the rest of our lives, Harley said, causing Batgirl to cover her mouth, as she's getting unwanted attention from the people around them. "Harley, don't make me regret letting you come," Izuku said as his group continued to walk. Making their way to the cemetery, Izuku guided them to the grave of Khloe. He wants to be in and out, in case this doesn't work. He has to try, as it would eat him alive if he didn't try. He knew that in some worlds, bringing someone back to life could be done, and if there's an afterlife in this world, he could bring Khloe back to life. "I hope this isn't one of those universes where bringing one person back to life will cause the entire universe to be destroyed," Green Lantern said. "Those universes never last long. They're destroyed because there will always be someone human or an alien will cause the end of that universe that will be destroyed if even one being is ever brought back to life," Izuku said. "Besides thinking about it, it's more of a plot device than anything else. Like I use a time travel thing to go back a couple of minutes to grab the last piece of pizza instead of Supergirl getting it. And when I get back to my own time, Nazis have taken over the world. Because changing anything in the past will always turn out horrible, even when it makes no sense whatsoever, like how could the Nazis have won and taken over the world when WW2 happened more than half a century ago, and going back in the past just to take the last piece of pizza would allow that bad future to happen," Harley said. "Here it is," Izuku said, standing in front of Khloe's grave. "Hi Khloe, I hope you're there." "Alright, let's see if I can summon her ghost," Zatanna said, as summoning spirits is a tricky thing and is why she brought along all the summoning spirits items she has, and other things from other worlds. "Just need an item to bind her spirit to the living world and use you someone close to her to home onto. Use the balance ring, it's already magical," Izuku said, giving Zatanna the ring of balance. Izuku watched Zatanna performing the ritual to summon the ghost of Khloe. Using the magic ring he gave her to anchor Khloe's soul to the living world and used him as a lighthouse to guide her in. Then there she is, Khloe floating above her grave staring at Izuku. "Izuku!" Khloe cried out as she flies to Izuku but ended up passing through him. "Right, I'm dead. Came back to bring you back," Izuku said. "Bring me back?" Khloe asked. "Yes. Been traveling to one world to another and there are plenty of ways to bring someone back to life," Izuku said. "Who are they?" Khloe asked, looking around and seeing so many attractive girls around Izuku. "Let's get back to the hotel and see your family first. I can explain things there," Izuku said, wondering how Khloe will react to the news that he's engaged to 13 princesses and their handmaidens. London 1891. While searching for his missing younger sister, Anola Holmes, an interesting case came to Sherlock Holmes. A Ben Talbot was found mutilated in a slaughterhouse. Ben's brother, actor Lawrence Talbot, returns home after learning of what happened and reunites with his estranged father Sir John, who had told the police of what happened to him and how he was turned into a werewolf. At a pub, Lawrence overhears the locals believing it to be a wild animal. However, many blame the Romani camped outside Blackmoor. Another claims that there was a similar murder 25 years earlier. A werewolf was the suspected killer. Lawrence tours his family's house, where his mother Solana seemingly died by suicide when he was little. Lawrence saw Sir John standing over her dead body and was sent to Lambeth Hospital in London for a year, having suffered from delusions connected to the event. Lawrence visits the Romani during a full moon. The townspeople raid the camp to confiscate a dancing bear they believe is the killer. The werewolf then attacks the camp, killing Romani and townspeople before biting Lawrence and escaping. Maliva, a Romani woman, sutures Lawrence's wounds. However, another Romani insists that the now cursed Lawrence should be killed before he kills others. Maliva refuses, saying that only a loved one can release him. After a night of feverish dreams, Lawrence recovers with unnatural speed and develops great vitality and heightened senses. Inspector Francis Aberline arrives to investigate, suspecting that Lawrence is responsible based on his mental history. Terrified of harming Gwen Conliffe, who used to be Ben's fiancée and is staying with the Talbots, Lawrence sends her to London. He follows Sir John to Solana's crypt. There, Sir John locks himself in a room and gives Lawrence a cryptic warning. Lawrence said that he turned into a werewolf, running off into the woods and killing some hunters. The next morning, Aberline and the police arrest Lawrence. Taken back to Lambeth, Lawrence is subjected to treatments overseen by the sadistic Dr. Honegger. Sir John visits Lawrence, explaining that 25 years before, during a hunting expedition in the Hindu Kush in India, he was bitten by a boy infected with lycanthropy. Sir John was the werewolf who bit Lawrence and is responsible for the recent murders, including Solana and Ben. He made Singh lock him up every full moon night and contemplated suicide for years. Now insane, Sir John has come to embrace his curse and has decided to let himself loose during his transformations. Knowing the moon will be full, he leaves a razor in case Lawrence contemplates suicide. Which is why he and Watson have come with Inspector Aberline to see the lecture of Dr. Honegger with Lawrence as a case study, during a full moon. Lawrence attempts to warn the attendees of the impending danger, to no avail. Transforming once more, Lawrence kills Dr. Honegger and some orderlies before escaping and going on a rampage. A real werewolf, Watson said to Sherlock as both of them join the chase with Aberline, who is firing at the transformed Lawrence, who is running on the rooftops. "Let's talk about it afterwards," Sherlock said, running towards the docks as a bullet hitting the chimney in front of the werewolf caused it to turn directions. "Come on," Aberline said as he waved for a pair of policemen to join the chase. Racing through the streets, the party gathered more policemen as calls went out for reinforcements, as word spread of the werewolf. The group reached the docks where gunfire was erupting from a warehouse on the docks. A woman came running out as screams were heard coming from inside. The werewolf burst out and launched itself onto the woman and tore its claws into her before it sank its teeth into her right shoulder and shakes her in its jaws. Like a ragdoll that a dog has gotten a hold of, the violent shaking went on for several seconds as the poor woman was flung around in the air by the werewolf's jaws on her shoulder before she was tossed off to the side, as something large came bursting out of the water. Leaping out of the water and getting the werewolf's attention and causing his bite to loosen enough to send the woman flying to the side, is the mysterious crab creature that has been spotted around the docks. With incredible speed the massive crab creature slammed into the smaller werewolf, sending it rolling on the ground from the blow. The werewolf leaped to its feet and growled in a fury as it faced off against the other outworldly creature. "Brother," the woman gasped out as she lay on her stomach as she blended out, reaching towards Sherlock. "No," Sherlock said, eyes widening in horror seeing it's actually his sister Anola. Sherlock rushed forward to sister and pulled her to the line of policemen for safety, while the two creatures fought each other. The werewolf, being smaller and faster, allowed it to dart around the lumbering crab creature. The werewolf's claws did little to the thick shell of the crab creature, which didn't even react to anything the werewolf did to it as it tried to grab the werewolf. "Shoot the werewolf!" Sherlock shouted. Gunshots rang out, striking the werewolf, which allowed the crab creature to grab the werewolf in its left claw and slammed the werewolf to the ground. The crab creature grabbed the werewolf's head with its right claw and rips it off. The body of the werewolf turned back to the body of Lawrence, now dead. Watson was looking over Anola. "She's bleeding badly and less torn up than he thought." He found the reason as underneath her dress she wore some kind of tight suit that felt very dense, which saved her from being ripped to pieces. Hearing the police around him shouting, he looked up to see the crab creature walking up to them. "Hold your fire," Sherlock said, getting a good look of the crab creature. "Are you mad?" Aberline said, aiming his revolver at the crab creature. "That thing isn't a crab creature, it's a machine," Sherlock said. Up close the crab creature is indeed a machine. Thanks to the damage done by the werewolf, the armor that covered the left arm was knocked off, revealing a metal arm underneath the disguise covering the metal frame, making it look like a crab. "Good observation, Sherlock Holmes," a female voice came from the crab creature. "You're controlling this machine," Sherlock said to the crab creature before turning to his sister. The reinforced suit she's wearing underneath her dress saved her from the worst of the injuries. She has several broken and cracked bones, internal bleeding, and is now infected with lycanthropy, the woman said. "We need to get her to a hospital," Watson said, knowing that they're on the clock to save Anola. A large and long object suddenly burst out of the water, covered in seaweed and bright lights coming from it. Underneath the seaweed is a sea truck with several modules attached to the cabin, the base module of the sea truck. Functions as a small submarine by itself and can be extended with further modules. The fabricator, the sleeper, storage, another storage, and the docking modules, followed suit of the 6-car sea truck. Get her in the sea truck, the medical equipment back at base will be more useful in treating her. Dr. Watson can use the first aid kit to stabilize Anola, the woman inside the machine said. Watson, follow me, Sherlock said as he picks up his sister and carries her to the sea truck. Inspector Aberline, telegram my brother and inform him what happened. With Watson's help to lower Anola down the hatch and ladder, Sherlock put her down on the folding bed attached to a wall on her stomach. Sherlock scanned the compartments, which is like the compartments of a train but smaller. The interior is very clean but showed use. There are several small wooden boxes on the floor, full of raw silver and gold ore. Music is playing from a phonograph, music which he never heard before but was turned off somehow as Watson came down the ladder. There's a cabinet just above the phonograph with a green box with a white cross picture on it. He also saw the picture frame with a colored picture of Anola with a boy around her age. An Asian boy who has freckles on his face, green eyes and green hair. The picture of his sister and the mysterious boy vanished and replaced by moving pictures that's in color. Dr. Watson, the video being played on the screen will show you how to use the medical tools found in the medical kit. It's stored in the cabinet on the wall with the green box with a white cross, above the jukebox, the woman voice said coming out of said jukebox. Opening cabinet and finding a green box with the white cross inside, Watson found it contained 3 syringes labeled in English, antibiotics, stimulant, and painkiller. There are also surgical blades, a shrapnel extractor, wound clamps, a spatula, bandages of different sizes, small paper packets with labels like fever and cold pills, gloves, an empty needle full of medicine, a container full of a blue solvent labeled Medigel, and a clear mask labeled as emergency breathing mask. They use the Medigel, the blue solvent that will sterilizes the wound site and then immediately staunches the bleeding by congealing over it. Followed by using the syringe labeled painkiller, followed by antibiotic, the video instructed which Watson followed as he went to work on keeping Anola alive. The hatch closed by itself and the sea truck began moving as it sank into the water, heading out to sea. It will take at least 20 minutes to reach the base, the woman's voice said. Where are you, MS? Sherlock asked. A beam of light appeared with the ghostly image of a Hispanic woman appeared. I'm all around you. I'm Stacy, an artificial intelligence left behind to help Anola Holmes in using the technology and equipment of the underwater sea base. Built by Izuku Midoriya, who came to this world while searching for a way home, Stacy explained. This world? Watson asked. Tell us everything from the start, Sherlock said, wondering what his sister had gotten herself into. Paris, France. Inside the hotel, Le Grand Paris Hotel that belonged to Khloe's father Andre, Izuku and his group are sitting down and explaining on what happened to him since he left this world. Khloe is with her family, her father, and her half-sister Zoe. Their mother Andre had returned to New York. The princesses that you befriended and other girls, all fell for you. Which you had no idea, being a clueless idiot where it takes someone just telling him to his face that they love him, to get through his thick skull. Khloe asked. Yes, Wonder Woman and her girls said, all giving Izuku a flat look. I just thought all of them were just good friends, Izuku said embarrassed. Wow, when you're actually in the middle of a romance with a clueless guy who has multiple girls in love with him and he doesn't know it. It's actually very sad and pathetic to watch, Zoe said. And you're all okay in sharing him? Andre asked. We had already agreed to share him between us before we found him. And we have grown to like the other girls, Batgirl said. Yup, when we're of age to marry. It lover boy being the king of 13 kingdoms, married to 13 queens and their handmaidens, Harley said. I will have to be a handmaiden to a princess to marry Izuku? Khloe asked. Technically no, but seeing how the L sisters have become Princess Zelda's handmaidens and Yoa has grown close to Ruby but is still deciding to join the herd or not, Green Lantern said. Herd? Zoe asked. One of the princesses, Sunset Shimmer, is from a world where their horse-like and form herds of mares around the rare male. Whose job it is to make kids with the mares and take care of them while the girls work, Supergirl said. And it's the females who are in charge and the boy, Izuku, has very little to say in what happens, Satana said. I never agreed to that, Izuku said. Well, too bad, that's what's going to happen, Wonder Woman said. You're going to our husband and do what we say, like tonight you're going to hand wash us when we take a bath and you're going to like it, Harley said. You hand wash them? Khloe asked dumbfounded. One of the girls, Piper, is very sick and needs help when she's not inside her medical suit that helps keep her alive. So, I help her around and take care of her, like washing her, Izuku said. And the other girls? Andre asked. We wanted in as he also does that for Lark when he was her manservant and he's very good at it, Harley said. This is a lot to take in, Khloe said, floating in the air. How will you be bringing Khloe back to life? Andre asked. Make a soulless clone of her and she just possesses it. And once she does, I can bind her soul to the new body so she can't be cast out or sent back to the spirit world with magic, Satana answers. Or you can just keep it as a possession and you can join our group and be a superhero, ghost girl or something. Being able to leave your body as a ghost, and if something happens to your body, we can always make a new one, Harley said. Well, that's true, she shouldn't make it a habit. Besides, there are ways to destroy spirits, and when you die as a ghost, you're just dead, Satana said. There are also other ways, Izuku added. I'm coming with you and joining the herd, Khloe said. You are? Zoe asked. I died for Izuku and he came back and brought me back to life, Khloe said. I wouldn't have been able to bring her back if she didn't want it to be back. And her bond with Izuku is strong enough for me to guide her back from the spirit world, Satana said. It was nice to finally meet, Grandma and Grandpa, Khloe said. Did they really had to tell you how I met your mother? Andre asked. You and Mom getting high on drags and ended up sleeping together and why I'm here. How you think I feel about it, Khloe replied. Khloe, we can just bring you back to life and you return to your old life, Izuku said. No, I gave up my first life for you. You're not getting off that easy, Khloe said and glanced at Zoe. Also, don't even think about it, Zoe. I know you and the other girls also fell for him, he's mine. I went and died for him, while you and the others did nothing to help. That's the reason why I left, Izuku said. I understand, Zoe said, seeing that she has missed her chance to be with Izuku. Break's over, time for the next part, MXYZPTLK said as he starts the film. Inside the trophy room of his younger sister, Mycroft Holmes looks over the display cases. His interest are focused on the more strange trophies she has collected. The remains of a giant carnivorous plant that was created by a Mr. Lambert, which ate him. The remains of a highly sophisticated clockwork female automaton. A statue of a 4-foot-tall man, with the display case saying it's Spring Heel Jack, a goblin who wore boots with springs that allowed him to jump around. Turned to stone by salt. A 2-foot-tall egg shell, that was found in an underwater cave. Meeting with Izuku has opened my eyes to a world that most people have long since thought to be nothing but made-up stories, Anola said, being wheeled into the trophy room by Sherlock. A device that allows him to open doorways to other universes. Given what you have shown me, it's not that unbelievable, Mycroft said and looked at his still recovering sister. Shouldn't you be in bed? I was nearly dead a few hours ago, but the lycanthropy I now infected with, is healing me, Anola said. Is there any cure? Mycroft asked. The hologram of Stacy appeared in the room. I check, and while there are cures that Izuku encountered in other worlds, the ingredients and methods aren't available here. The best thing to do is prevention, not allowing Anola to be exposed to the full moon and be locked up in a cell when she does transforms. The lycanthropy is transmitted by body fluids, the bite to her shoulder is how she was infected. The scans have revealed that she now has an increase of her metabolism, allowing her to eat more than she should, with it all going to her new healing factor that will allow her to heal faster and regenerate lost flesh. The transformation into a werewolf damages and puts the body under a lot of stress, which is why the healing factor, otherwise the shifting back and forth would just kill the infected, Stacy explains. Can she gain control over herself when she changes? Sherlock asked. Depends, some were creatures in Otherworld can control themselves, while others are just beasts, Stacy said. Unless I can contact Izuku and seek treatment in another world, I have to be locked up before each full moon, Anola said. There is also another matter with all of this, Mycroft said, waving to one of the crab bots walking by. Izuku left it all to me, after I discovered him. Been learning to use all of this technology and learning things that has opened my eyes to things I never thought of before. Been salvaging shipwrecks and underwater mining, Anola said. Also been the one smuggling in shipments of raw gold, silver, copper, into the docks. The old coins and other treasures, which is the reason why you were in that warehouse with those smugglers, Mycroft said. I needed a way to build up my funding. I do need to buy supplies when I'm on land. And I also needed to buy some equipment and materials that I can't find or make myself. Repurposing the repair pods and the robot crabs from their intended use takes much resources, Anola explained. Repurpose? Sherlock asked. Finding Izuku was the best thing that has happened to me. I found that I have a gift in learning how to use technology and build them. With Stacy's help, I have learned to take apart machinery and make them work better, making my own from scratch. And I'm sure that the government is more than willing to make a deal for access and knowledge how to use them that will advance the technology of the Empire by centuries, Anola said. A few favors and strings pulled will handle your illegal activities, Mycroft said. Stacy, the pre-recorded presentation I made. It time to tell my brothers everything, Anola said. Pre-recorded? Sherlock asked. I prepared for this day when my secret was out, and I made sure I would be ready even if I wasn't able to explain things myself, Anola said. It's ready in the theater, Stacy said. Sherlock, push me and I tell you where to go. I need some feedback on it before it's shown to the government leaders, Anola said. Lots of people are waiting me to report back, Mycroft said, who was sent as it is his family who is behind things, again. My hero Earth. With it being their turn to be with Izuku, Iris, Talia, Oriana, Carissa, and Lina, are hanging out in UFO. They're helping Haley in crossing off another of her to-do list, making a song. And with Iris and her girls having been singers and Izuku having written some songs, their prefect to help her brainstorm. Currently, they're all stuffing their faces with the leftover food from the buffet, which is now closed. So, how is the whole soul transfer thing going? Haley asked. Khloe is designing her new body to be how she wants, Izuku said. Using hair samples from her old combs, a new body is being grown for Khloe in a laboratory in the Nile universe. The transferring of saved memories into a new body is actually a standard medical practice in the Nile universe, an experience one, but is a standard medical procedure. Much of the cost is from growing a new body and making improvements to it. Thanks to other technologies and magic from other universes, they're working to cut the cost. The whole procedure in growing Khloe a new body and using magic is a medical test to see how well it works. Which Lark is also interested in and is helping with the testing, as having extra lives is very appealing to her. And you're here and not with her? Haley asks. She wants it to be a surprise, Izuku said. Can't blame her for wanting to make some changes to her new body. I would if I could, Iris said. Well, there is using magic, but magical enhancements for beauty needs an expert in using such magic. Also there's the problem of someone or something reversing the magical enhancements, Carissa said. That's only if the magical enhancements are for like maintaining your youthful looks and such. Using it for like growing your hair and other body growths, is completely different. But that's more of using potions than spell casting, Oriana said. From what I have seen, spell changes are much easier to reverse than using a potion, Izuku said. You got that right, Lina said. So if I have one of you cast a spell that fix my teeth so I don't need braces. If I get hit by a anti-magic thing, they go back to needing braces? Haley asked. No, that more in healing magic. Completely different from using magic to change your appearance. Using magic to heal like broken bones, won't mean you having your bones re-broken, Talia said. While magic has lots of rules, Haley said. It's the reason why I don't bother learning to use magic. The rules to different kinds of magic in one world to another are always different, Izuku said. Really? Haley asks. One world has all magic needing a ritual to be performed. Even the most simple spell like making a magic light, needs the magic user to perform a long complex ritual. Another needs a sacrifice from an object to a life to perform magic. Another is math-based magic where you need to do complex calculations in your head to cast a spell. Another, only versions can use magic for both sexes. Another world is all magic needs the user to sacrifice a human life to cast any kind of magic. Spell casting needs to be in song, dancing, and magic where people need to be having SEC, Izuku said. SEC magic? Talia asked. Yes, by themselves or with someone else or more to cast magic, Izuku said. That doesn't seem to be very practical, Lina said. No, it wasn't, and I left that world fast. There isn't an age limit in that world, Izuku said, causing all the girls to freeze up. And yes, it's what you think it is. Gross, Haley said. It is, most of the magic I have encountered aren't practical to use. One world needs a long and drawn-out ritual, involving hitting someone with a tuna for 100 times, lizards to poop in their ears while saying their name backwards, a boar to lick beetle spit from the belly button, eat mouse as from a sloth's ass, and so on, Izuku said, causing all the girls to stare at him. You got to be kidding me, Iris said. Nope, Izuku said. So what is all that for? Oriana asked. To create a fire, Izuku said. What? All the girls asks. I know, they do all that just to create a fire. Sure, the fire is useful as it burns hot with any type of fuel, but it also goes out just as easy, and the whole ritual needs to be done all at once and the animals need to act as they need to, which is very hard to get them to do what you want. When a normal fire will do the job, Izuku said. Completely a waste of time and energy, Carissa said. So how hard is it to learn magic? Haley asks. For our magic, you need to have a talent for it. But there is potion making, it's like being a chemist, just using magical ingredients, Iris said. You just need to know what you're doing to make a magic potion, Talia said. Are you learning magic? Haley asked Izuku. No, I had my adventures while traveling to last me the rest of my life. I just want to prepare myself for when I get married to the girls. I need to learn a lot to be ready to be a king, Izuku said. Same here, I've been learning to be a queen. But thankfully with my parents around to rule. It'd be a long time before they set down, Iris said. You also have the other princesses to help you to handle your responsibilities, Izuku said. Responsibilities? Haley asks. There's a reason why most fictions has a princess, instead of a ruling queen. All the power but none of the real responsibilities that comes with being a royal, or learning to handle the responsibilities that comes with the title, Iris said. People expects their rulers to be prefect or at least know what they're doing and present themselves as good rulers, Izuku said. Lots of pressure and stress, Iris said, slumping in her chair. And I complain about being the crab queen, Haley said. In the dining room, Izuku is enjoying having dinner with Bloom, Stella, Flora, Musa, Tekna, Aisha, and Roxy. The girls are all excited as Izuku did the cooking. Being forced to travel from one world to another, Izuku had to learn how to cook for himself, and like with technology, he has picked up recipes along the way too. And while he was there night, Izuku would cook for them, and tonight he's making them gourmet meat stew. A meal that Izuku learned from Zelda's uncle, Link. It would have been a romantic meal if it wasn't for both of Izuku's parents are also at the table, Hisashi and Inko. You girls really like Izuku's cooking, Hisashi asked the girls. When he was in our world and serving as our knight, he also cook our meals. He really enjoys cooking, Bloom said. Where did he learn? From you? Hisashi asks Inko. Not from me, Inko said. He learned on his own and whenever there was someone to teach him, Flora said. He had to survive on his own. He learned a lot and cooking for himself was something he needed to learn to do. The fabricator does cook and remove all the inedible parts and fluids of animals but leaves a lot to be longing in taste, Tekna said. Tekna doesn't know how to cook more than some simple meals, Stella said, causing Tekna to be miffed. But she's better than Usagi. Just her mentioning that she wants to cook, sent Izuku and her group running and hiding. Their mothers had to pry them out from where they were hiding, Aisha adds. Well, seeing how anything more complex than a sandwich, she ruins and the last person who tried her food, had to have their stomach pump, Flora said. Didn't Izuku try to teach her? Hisashi asks. That's the problem, under supervision she can cook. But once she's by herself, she tries her own way and ends up ruining whatever meal she's trying to make, Roxy said. The only meals she can handle besides sandwiches, are TV dinners and already cooked and just need to pop in the microwave meals, Musa said. Have you girls learned to cook from Izuku? Inko asks. A bit, Roxy said. As our knight, his job was mainly to protect us, not to teach us how to cook, Tekna said. Once you are all married, he will be serving you all as your knight. Inko asks. Many of us are princesses but I'm not going to be queen. We're guardian fairies of our worlds and Izuku will be aiding us when there's danger. Before he took away the tricks as magic from them, he gave all of us a magic item that helped to power us up, Bloom said, holding up the arrow sparrow, allows the user to throw out bird-shaped projectiles that light on fire. It really enhanced my fire magic. Tekna has the denture bunny, that transforms the user into electricity. She mainly uses it to travel around using power cables, which is faster than flying as in electric form. She can travel from one end of a country to another in seconds. And able to enter secure buildings that have a live cable connecting it to the outside world. Flora has the Juju flytrap, that releases a swarm of large flies that attack targets. Roxy has the Sword of Storms, generates strong winds and tornadoes, but it cannot be used for physical attacks. Musa has the Blade of the Nebula, that can transform into nunchucks that allows the user to manipulate the wind. Aisha has the Shimo staff, that can transform into any weapon the user requires. She uses it with her magic that already allows her to make things out of her imagination to increase her range. Stella has the Culver crystal, that creates a glittering and blinding sphere of light that helped its users during escapes. Combined with her light-based powers, allows her to supercharge her light spells. I'm surprised that Izuku hasn't given the others their own magic items, Inko said. He has for some of them, others he gave technology, Stella said. He gave us both magic and technology, Tekna said. Lark on the other hand just stole it from him, Roxy said. But anyways, Izuku's duties as our husband is to aid us in our duties as guardians or royal duties for us who are going to be ruling, Bloom said. Of course he's going to be very busy, Aisha said, but stop seeing Izuku coming in wheeling a big pot of stew on a cart and is looking at something on his iPad. New machine? Tekna asks. Yes, Piper sent me data on a new machine that Lark found, Izuku said, sending her the data. On her data pad, Tekna saw it's a new recycling machine, found by one of Lark's scouting parties of drones. The recycler consists of a bin for material to be recycled on the left side, a central screen with a button to activate the machine and a display of what the products will be, and a bin on the right side where the raw material products are dumped after the machine has finished working. The materials that come out are either blue mineral cubes, green organic cubes, orange synthetic cubes, or purple exotic cubes, or ball if there isn't enough to make a cube. The machine breaks down anything put in it down to atoms before making them into cubes or ball. Where they be used by industrial fabricators, which are essentially large 3D printers that produce usable items from the raw materials. According to this, the recycler machine can safely dispose of anything toxic or radioactive, Tekna said. I know, by breaking it down and changing it into cubes, all the safety concerns are handled, Izuku said. This is very useful. There are tons of dangerous chemicals and materials that can't just be thrown away and need to be processed just to get rid of or sealed away, Tekna said. There they go again, Musa said, taking the abandoned stew cart and serving the others. Seeing how Izuku is now sitting with Tekna and going over the machine that caught their attention. He does this all the time, Aisha said. Which Tekna loves to talk for hours with him about. Stella grumbles as Tekna loves to talk with Izuku about nerd stuff which she and the others don't. Amphibia / the Owl House / Gravity Falls / Pepper and / Fright Crows / Gentry Chow versus the Underworld / The Ghost and Molly McGee, Earth. Another meeting by video chat of the parties who have encountered Izuku Midoriya, who traveled from one dimension to another by a portal gun. He stayed around and helped before leaving one way or another. Gifting his new friends with technology he found in an alien ocean world, both highly advanced sci-fi human and alien technology. Even gifting them magic items, that he picked up. Luz Nocida was given the monkey staff, grants the user the physical characteristics, as well as the acrobatic agility and balance of a monkey. If it stays active for too long it slowly transforms the user into a monkey. 4 of her friends in the Boiling Isles were also given magic items, to help them during their battle to retake the island. Crouching Cougar, transforms into a mechanical cougar that can transport the rider at high speeds. Gave to Hunter. Shadow Slicer, allows the user to create hologram copies of themselves. Given to Gus Porter. Star Hanabi, generates flames and shoots fireballs. Given to Amity Blight. Bear Batten, turned the user into a bear-like creature that could attack with super sharp teeth. Given to Willow Park. Molly McGee, who has dealings with the ghost world, was given the bubble brains. It could transform a person into a ghost and vice versa. She is able to turn herself into a right, but the magic item is faster and doesn't leave her human body behind. Both the monkey staff and bubble brains are now contained in a research lab to study their magic. Like the other 3 were already in government hands. Lasso Boa Boa, can transform into a live snake that can either attack enemies or whose body can be used like a strong lasso. Third Arm Sash, which acts like a very long third arm for the user. Shroud of Shadows, that she uses as her hooded cloak, that lets her turn invisible. From the interviews I think, I can make a good guess of the timeline. Izuku first appeared in the Boiling Isles and helped Ms. Nocida and her friends in beating the evil emperor. Where he ended up in Amphibia and was nearly killed, but he didn't, and ended up traveling to another world to survive. Where he ended up on Earth and helped Ms. McGee with the ghosts, Mr. X said. Izuku really didn't talk about the worlds he visited. He was very depressed when I met him. The last world he went to was one where the rich elites allowed a huge meteorite to fall to Earth because some rich idiot thought he could harvest the gold that made up most of the rock. Izuku had Secundo hacked the escape rocket the rich elites were going to use to escape Earth and leaving everyone else to die. He caused cryogenic chambers not to work and the rocket unable to launch, also gave out the location to the rocket to everyone and caused the entire base to be overrun by mobs who all tried to get onto the rocket. Who also attacked the people who caused the upcoming doom to their world and tried to escape like the cowards they are, Molly said. Izuku helps people when he can. It's why he stayed around to help with Bellows, Camila Nocida said. The alien hero he met, Wander thought him that, V said. How did Izuku survive? Sasha asked Molly. He said that he landed in the home of a mad doctor who put him back together, Molly said. The Izuku you met did get that wound from a giant energy sword? N asks. Yes, he said he got it helping some friends to escape a giant newt king. As he was falling he used the portal gun to escape, Molly said. He survived. That Izuku we fought must have been a clone or something, Sasha said, taking a peek to Marcy, who is staying quiet as she reads over the reports of the interviews. What happened to the body? Luz asks. Taken to be examined in a lab. The Izuku body recovered had been heavily modified with cyberware. I gave the lab a call and for the lab boys to check the body, but cloning is still new, Mr. X said. The collector, Marcy spoke up. The collector? Luz asks. He's the key. He can open a portal to the home world of Izuku. What's the point of having a godlike being around if you can't ask them for help now and then? Marcy asks. The collector went off into space, but he left a way to call him. But it might take a while, Luz said. It will be nice to see Izuku again, Molly said. Establishing some friendly relations with the collector will be useful. There are plenty of beings out there that need someone of that power level to handle, Mr. X points out. I do what I can to get him to come, Luz said. Yes, and I can see Izuku again, Marcy said as both N and Sasha looks at her worried. After learning that Izuku could still be alive, Marcy has been working herself to the bone. Both of them know the overwhelming guilt she has for being the cause for Izuku being stabbed to save her. And how them fighting and killing the clone who they thought was the real Izuku, had all but destroyed her. She's been doing research on the portal gun files that Izuku had left behind in a search to make one herself and go to his home world. She wants to be the one who tells Izuku's mother that her son is dead. But now she wants to be the one to tell him, she's sorry for everything. Since the end of the fighting on Etheria, Adora, who has been raised as a trained soldier for all of her life, suddenly found herself without a purpose. The loss of Izuku, who sacrificed himself so that he could launch the escape pod with her and Katra inside while he stayed to keep Horde Prime from escaping. She and the others had no idea what happened on the flagship till they saw that film by Discord and that imp, Mixes, or something. Hordak being the one who sacrificed himself so that Izuku could escape had been a surprise to say the least. Afterwards, with Etheria back to real space and the sky filled with stars again, they were soon contacted by Eternia. Where she learned that she's the twin sister to Prince Adam, who was taken as a baby. Adora suddenly found herself move into a new role and duties that she never was taught or expected to learn. She was raised to be a soldier, which turned out to be needed as her home world needed someone with her skills. While Etheria is at peace, Eternia on the other hand is dealing with two evil warlords, Skeletor and his evil warriors, and King Hiss of the Snake Men. Adora spent her off time getting to know her parents King Rander and Queen Marlena Glen, her brother Adam and the other masters. Learning about the culture of her BRTH, but also how different it is from the one she grew up with. She also liked Tila, the daughter of Man-at-Arms / Duncan, who also grew up to be a soldier. Adora spends a lot of time with her mother Marlena, who wants to make a strong bond with her daughter, but they have little in common. With her being a highly trained military cadet, the concepts of fancy dinners and how one behave in high-class settings are completely unknown to her. Which her mother Marlena has taken a great amount of pain to teach her. Also, as one of the royal heirs to the throne, she also needed to be married and have children to ensure there's a clear line of succession. Which Adora had to awkwardly explain to her mother that she's only has eyes for other women and already in a relationship with Katra. And that the only guy she had loved had sacrificed himself to defeat Horde Prime. Which Marlena understood. Losing the one you love is always hard, as she went through the same thing when she was taken from her as a baby. That was till MDM Raz let out that Izuku is still alive when she acted like Marlena is Adora and Adora is someone Diz, wondering why she changed her hair from green like her father. News spread fast with the other girls who also are in love with Izuku joining in on the search. Seeing how Raz also revealed Diz has half-siblings as well, from Glimmer, Perfuma, Frosta, Katra, Scorpia, and Entrapta. Meaning that Izuku would father children with the other girls, which caused Adora to have some issues in sharing Izuku with the others, but she was more focused on finding Izuku, who survived the explosion of the flagship. Resulting finding out that the other girls in the other worlds that Izuku also visited are also in love with him and had the same plan as her group. Also that Izuku is completely clueless to love and had no idea that the girls he grew close to are in love with him. Causing the groups of 13 princesses and their ladies-in-waiting to all be engaged with Izuku, seeing how another meeting with Raz had her revealing that Izuku also will be fathering children with the other girls. There are benefits to having alliances with the other kingdoms, namely having help in taking care of the two evil warlords. Thanks to the army of sentinels from the Cyclonia Empire, made to handle those with superpowers and other super abilities. The robots killed both Skeletor and King his forces, with the survivors now held prisoners in an off-world prison set up in another dimension by the Cyclonia Empire. There aren't any walls or prison, just the planet that has all that is needed to survive but nothing else. The prisoners are STRP of everything before being teleported down to the planet, which has an energy field around it that causes all electrical and magic energy to fail, making escape impossible. And even if someone could escape from the planet, without a way to open a portal to their home dimension, they're stuck in that dimension. There is also talks about using the Phantom Zone to keep prisoners who be released later. Now Adora is finding herself with no purpose in her life, with her days spending on bonding with her future fellow wives and spending time with Izuku when it's her turn. Thanks to her not having any royal duties that the other princesses have to deal with, it's usually her, Catra, and Scorpia who spend time with Izuku. And with the other girls, which Sunset and Lark had invited her, and Catra to join in on some bonding time. Your body is so rip and tone, Sunset said looking over Adora's muscular body. Adora blushes before she became Shiare. She never really thought of how attractive her body is from a lifetime of rigorous and daily fitness exercises and weapons training. Her muscular body is like that of Diana or Wonder Woman or Kara or Supergirl as they also calls themselves, very muscular but still attractive with a firm bust and peach. Which got her lots of stares from the other girls whenever they're bathing or swimming together or in the hot tub. Gives the herd a good variety in body types, Lark said looking over Adora's naked body. Izuku will have voluptuous like me, and slender like Lark and plenty between, Sunset said waving to her very busty hourglass figure, that will only grow bigger as she gets older, judging by her mother, and Lark whose slender body is still growing and has much promise by looking at her mother. Can you two not talk like that, Adora said blushing red. Come now, we're all going to be in a group marriage and you're going to need to learn to have a taste for women, which you already have with Catra, Sunset said. Yes, Catra said blushing red too as she stands naked next to Adora. It will be my first time, Scorpia said who is also naked. All five of them are in the bathroom which is more of a large indoor pool, in Canterlot Castle where Sunset had invited all of them for the org. And where Adora, Catra and Scorpia had cleaned themselves up first. Also we've been calling you, Lark said. We were busy with the cleanup after Skeletor and King Hiss were killed and their forces killed or captured. Thanks for the help, Adora said. You're welcome. It's better to take care of something like that before either of them tried anything, Lark said. You remember those ninja schools? Sunset asked. Yes, Adora said. Well, that's why we were calling you. We decided to get our own ninjas. I got the Hanzo National Academy, Sunset said making a screen appear showing the ninja girls that are now serving her. Muramasa, a small and slender blonde-haired girl who is a robot girl. She wields massive vernier on her arms that deliver shocking blows. Using them, she prides herself in aerial movement. She has been given a new synth body that allows her to be more human and able to have section. Have the others already picked? Adora asks. Yes, they did. That's what happens when you don't answer, Sunset said. She showed the other ninja girls who are now serving one of the other princesses. Cleopatra has the Zodiac Guiding Star Association, a group of elite shinobi that revolve around Western zodiac motifs. The sisters, Renka, Hanabi, and Kafuru. I gained some new ninjas as well, with Ryoki, being the older sister to Ryobi and Riona, joining with her sisters leaving the Kagura group and some new girls from Hebiho Academy, Lark said showing her new ninja girls. Ryoki, who used to be dead before being brought back to life thanks to her being a ghost, is a long dark-haired girl, who uses a shotgun and shield. She also uses her coffin as a weapon. They're the last team and like everyone else, have been informed about the group marriage with Izuku. And having already been trained in the art of SEC during their training, are more than able to have SEC with you and your group, Sunset explains. You girls are fine with it. Adora asks. Yes, if that's what it takes to be with Izuku, Toki said. We're not going to be letting someone like Izuku go, and if it means eating you out till you agree to let us join having SEC with him, so be it, Ui said, causing Adora to blush. Oh really, Katra said, liking the busty bodies the ninja girls have. And being the personal ninjas to a real princess, be nice. Hiyori said. Beats any job back home, Kazakiri said. You also need to pay them for their services, Lark points out. Right, I have to talk to Mom about this, Adora said. But for now, let's join the others, Sunset said, opening the door to her bedroom. In pairs, or groups, sweat-covered bodies are pressed up against each other, big melons and peaches being groped. The smell of sweat and SEC filled the room inside. The Hanzo National Academy girls are being mobbed by the other ninja girls, as well as Sunset's herd members who are dominating the other girls thanks to their bigger and stronger bodies, as well as have the SEC drive that all equestrian mares have. So are you ready? Adora asks, staring at the scene before her. Come on, let's join in, Katra said, licking her lips, and push Adora into the room, followed by the other girls. Sunset waited for all the girls to get into her room and join in on the org. She can't wait for the other girls to join in, and especially when Izuku would finally join in, and be the stud to the herd. Of course he will need to be able to handle having SEC with so many females, otherwise he won't last a year. Sunset closed the door behind her, and she and the others wouldn't be coming out till well into the next day. Inside one of the rooms of the medical laboratory of a Nile Galaxy Medical Research Center, Khloe in her ghost form looks upon her new body that has been grown for her. Which, for the advanced medical technology of the Nile Galaxy, that draws medical technology for all the different races of the known galaxy, is the most advanced in all fields of science and technology. Simultaneously, Khloe's new body is voluptuous and statuesque, while having a swan-like grace. Her melons swelled in heavy tantalizing orbs, pink-nippled and well-rounded, perky so that they won't lose their shape. Similarly, beneath her slender waist, there swelled and peach that balanced out her top half. Her peach are broad like a dancer's, while her derriere bulged impeccably curvaceous and thick. Which is all balanced out with her young body, which as she grows older, will only grow bigger. As for now, she just looks like a young girl who has a mature body for her age. You really went out to make this new body to be a wet dream, Cleopatra said, walking up to the tank that held the new body. Well, it's not like you haven't made some improvements with your body. Your mother still looks young and still fit like one, Khloe said. The wonders of medical technology. The normal lifespan for a human now is around 200. And that's with the normal health care, Cleopatra said. The ones who can afford it, can live longer thanks to having the money for it. That's just like in my world, Khloe said. Mom is in her 60s and still has the body of a 20-year-old, Cleopatra said. If you be like your mother when you're older, you be a hottie, a hourglass figure, with large melons, thin waist, and heart-shaped bottom, Khloe said as she seen Pharaoh Yosira naked when she entered the bath looking for Cleopatra, who is very voluptuous underneath the loose-fitting robe she always wears. Her own mother Andre, is quite voluptuous herself, but Pharaoh Yosira puts her to shame. Not that she matters anymore. That's thanks to generations of breeding and shaping the bloodline of the royal family through gene therapy. My name Sheikh had the ability to absorb and store power, which has been passed down in the royal family. It's why mother was able to help grandmother Cleopatra to defeat Anubis, Cleopatra said. You haven't done any energy manipulation, Khloe pointed out. I'm still learning to manipulate energy. Mother had to learn it by trial by fire, the strain hurt her greatly. The magic Wu item Ruby of Ramses, that's on the royal scepter, is much more powerful when mother uses it, thanks to her energy power. She said if she had it during the war with Octavian. Sunset's mother Celestia is helping mother in learning the limits to the telekinetic ability the magic item grants her, Cleopatra said. So she can move planets and stars? Khloe asks. She's just been moving large asteroids before I found Izuku's universe. Moving a planet around if done wrong can cause disruption of the gravity of the entire star system. Octavian did that to several star systems and caused system-wide destruction. Mother, Celestia, and her sister Luna have been working together to fix those systems, Cleopatra said. The Sun and Moon princesses, Khloe said, thinking of those two giant buxom women. Sunset is going to be really intimidating when she gets older and bigger like her mother. Yes, and isn't shy about how she and her handmaidens have been having SEC for years. Which she wants all of yous who are engaged to Izuku to join her group, in orgies. Like Lark, who has been trying to show Sunset her place in the pecking order of us future wives, and failing where she and her ninja girls are ravaged by Sunset and her group. And now Adora has joined in, the rest of her group won't be far behind, Cleopatra said. Seeing how we will all be in a group marriage, having SEC with the other women of the group is just something that will happen. Besides, us all piling on Izuku, will just end up with him dead, Khloe said. Gene therapy and some magic potions, should make him be able to be the stud he needs to be, Cleopatra said. Well, we're all still young, there's no rush to do that. Seen enough movies where an experiment causes something horrible to happen, Khloe said. Like turning Izuku into an insatiable SEC monster, Cheeto said from the table she's sitting at. And that you and the other girls need to have SEC with him, till he calms down and thinks straight again, Yuri adds, sitting with her friend as both of them ate some chips. As if that be a bad thing, Khloe said, looking at the two who aren't alone as Cleopatra's new personal bodyguards are with them in the room. With MSTR Cyclones or Lark to those she allows to use her real name, having her own personal group of kunoichis as her bodyguards and handmaidens, the other princesses had looked at the other groups of kunoichis who are also in love with Izuku. They contacted the different groups and informed them of what happened to Izuku and his current status. Namely, him being engaged to a group of 13 princesses of different universe who are all in love with him. With one of the princesses already having her own personal kunoichis, they also wanted their own bodyguard kunoichis. The kunoichis all signed up with the groups, meeting the different princesses to see which group would fit with one of the princesses. Cleopatra has the Zodiac Guiding Star Association, a group of elite shinobi that revolve around Western zodiac motifs of the 13 signs. Leo, a blonde who is the leader of the Zodiac Guiding Star Association. Second-year high school student. Always calm, cool, and collected, she holds her team together with her strong leadership skills. With astronomical wealth, Leo is the celebrity socialite daughter of a high-class family. She prizes elegance and decorum. Also, she loves naps, and will take even the smallest opportunity to doze off a little. She retains her elegance even while doing this. Her fighting style centers on high speed, flashing attacks from her energy sword. Her zodiac is Leo. Jinrei, a girl with long gray hair done in ringlets, a member of the Zodiac Guiding Star Association and a second-year high school student. She gets along well with Leo in both public and private, acting as her leader's right-hand woman. Loyal to Leo above all others and possessing comparable combat prowess, she reigns as the team's number 2. However, she has a bad habit of mistaking her objectives and going off on a misdirected rampage. Possesses a deep love for spiral-shaped sculpted objects. When it comes to simple physical strength, she freely wields her long drill lance in battle. Her zodiac is Virgo. Kurohoro, a girl with short brown hair, a member of the Zodiac Guiding Star Association and a third-year high school student. A highly calculating person, her hobby is watching others dance in the palm of her hand. She's in charge of information gathering and analysis, for which she employs astrology. However, she has a tendency to place too much trust in her abilities, leaving her extremely fragile when a situation proceeds in ways contrary to her expectations. She specializes in hidden weapon techniques using the wide array of poisoned lethal weapons she keeps concealed in her sleeves. Her zodiac is Scorpio. Suri, a girl with short brown hair, a member of the Zodiac Guiding Star Association and a second-year student in high school. Serious and quiet in temperament, she tends not to stand out. A fervent believer in her own, wrong-headed, assumptions. She wants to become a magical girl, and is well read in literature that has made her an expert on certain shady areas of knowledge, which is what led to her being scouted as a shinobi. Her specialty is cutting attacks delivered from a distance by her blade-bearing yo-yos. Her zodiac is Gemini. Aimu, a girl with shoulder-length brown hair, a member of the Zodiac Guiding Star Association and a first-year high school student. Combining innocence and curiosity, she's every bit as childish as she looks. Her teammates dote on her like a little sister, and she spends her days indulging her every whim. She believes she was a fallen angel in a past life, and conducts herself as such. In battle, she shoots from long distance with the large crossbow on her left arm. Her zodiac is Sagittarius. Tamayura, a girl with long white hair, a third-year member of the new Zodiac Star Committee. Though she might seem affable, she believes in passing down judgment to those who seem guilty, while letting the innocent thrive. When she is in danger, she uses SEC appeal to distract enemies. She's completely aware to how fetishistic and revealing her outfit is, using it to distract her enemies. Her zodiac is Libra. Kureha, a redhead with short hair, member of the new Zodiac Star Committee and very talented with using swords. Her mother was a shinobi instructor who taught Leo and Jinrei. Despite trying to seem cool and mature, sometimes she acts like a girl of her age. Was forced to kill her mentor and mother, in order to become the new Kureha. She eagerly became Cleopatra's handmaiden as a way to escape her clan, who are unable to do anything to her now. Her zodiac is Capricorn. Suiren, a girl with long hair that's half purple and blonde. She likes to research on Yoma and has known Hyoki for some time. While generally polite and calm, she becomes a chatterbox when it comes to her research. Her life philosophy is pursuit of knowledge, and she gets pretty excitable when the opportunity presents itself to learn something. And being the handmaiden of Cleopatra, who is the princess of a galaxy-wide empire, has given her vast amounts of knowledge to learn. Her zodiac is Ophiuchus. Leaving the 5 leftover zodiac signs of Aries, Taurus, Pisces, Cancer, and Aquarius to be filled. With so many girls going to be in this group marriage, Izuku needs to be a stud that can go for hours without stopping. Otherwise, we will just kill him, Cleopatra said. We can just do small groups, I'm okay in sharing, Khloe said. Really? Cleopatra asked. Izuku means that much to me, and sharing him with all of you, is what it takes to be with him. So be it, I already died for him. Khloe said. How about having SEC with us? Tamayura asked. Going to have to do that at some point, Khloe said, blushing at the thought of her having SEC with another woman. She turns to Cleopatra. So have room for another handmaiden? You want to be my handmaiden? Cleopatra asked. Need to be in one, and you don't have anyone else who are in love with Izuku, besides the ninjas, Khloe said before looking at Cheeto and Yuri. He's a friend, Yuri said. But he could be a friend with benefits, Cheeto said. I thought that you would want to be with Diana and the other superheroes, you being one yourself, Cleopatra said. No, I don't want to be a superhero anymore. All I want to do is be with Izuku, Khloe said. Your death hit him hard, Cleopatra said, having been informed by her mother about the post-traumatic stress Izuku has been suffering from his travels. I know, I was the first girl to ever say to him that I love him. Besides his mom, Khloe said. Izuku is so dense that even with Cleo dancing naked for him, he still didn't get that she loves him, Yuri said. He's a dense idiot, but he's our dense idiot, Khloe said with a sigh. I know, at least he's learning both how to know when a girl loves him, or else we just go with Kelly's mom way. Beating the CRP out of him, Cleopatra said. I say we just bend him over and use paddles on him, Jinrei said. Or blue ball him, secularly tease him but stopping so that he doesn't leak, Leo said grinning. We can take turns riding him and stopping, Kurohoro adds. We can do as stuff to him, Aimu suggested. Ew, Khloe said. We're too young for that. Mom and the others all agreed that we all wait till we're old enough to marry. We all still need to learn the ropes of being rulers, especially Izuku, who is being tutored in the customs and traditions that each royal household has, Cleopatra said. Izuku has a lot to prepare himself with, Khloe said and turns to Cleopatra. So have an opening? Sure, Cleopatra said as she didn't have any handmaidens who are also in love with Izuku. The ninja girls are more bodyguards than anything else, like Cheeto and Yuri, who have been with her since she and Izuku found them on their dead home planet. They're her handmaidens but aren't romantically involved with Izuku, they just see him as a friend. Besides, she's all by herself in her group, with Ruby having Yoa and Zelda having the L sisters. She should have some girls with her who are also in love with Izuku. The Earth of the universe where Rainbow Land is located and where all color comes from in that universe, is as eccentric as Rainbow Land is. Food is big on that Earth, not as big as that world Izuku visited where there are food hunters, but still up there is just about everyone and everything has food-based names. Big Apple City, while largely appearing like a normal city, also has many eccentric-looking buildings in the shape of food and fruit. A prominent building in the city has a large apple structure on the top of its spire, presumably the equivalent to 1 Times Square. There Izuku's group are enjoying the food from Berryworks. A popular tourist destination in Big Apple City, it is considered the best place for bakers to start their career. It started off as an ordinary cupcake factory run by J. Quincy Cupcake, the founder of Big Apple City, before being converted into a food truck lot in the modern day. It also contains shops, restaurants, a park-like highline, and a VIP greenhouse. Underneath the complex are storage facilities from the early days of the factory. Hidden behind a painting of J. Quincy and his wife, Henrietta Cupcake, is J. Quincy's former office, which has since been converted into a clubhouse hangout for the Berryworks employees. Bread Pudding's office is located somewhere in the left side of the Berryworks. Bread Pudding, the manger of Berryworks, is a preppy boy with dull tan skin and caramel-colored hair. His hair has a gelled swoop, and he sports a side undercut. He has brown eyes. He wears a purple argyle sweater vest with a white long-sleeve collared dress shirt, brown corduroy pants, and typical brown men's dress shoes. Bread Pudding is making sure the visiting royalty are enjoying themselves, as it's not just Rainbow Bright and her group's parents visiting. As Sunset and her group have also come along, with her mother Celestia, her aunt Luna and her new cousin Luna's daughter Aerie. As well as the parents of Sunset's herdmates are also attending the event. The royal parents have been planning for this visit for weeks now and made sure they're able to have some free time for a family day. The Berryworks is closed down for the visit, with only people who are invited are allowed in. There are guards, both flesh and robots, posted everywhere. The parents, including Izuku's parents, are all seated at a large table set up for them where they're talking to each other and getting to know each other. Luna has Aerie sitting on her lap, as Aerie still doesn't like being away from her mommy and clings to her, which Luna enjoys. Both Celestia and Luna are getting lots of stares as they're eating lots of sweets, that the cooks from the different restaurants and food trucks are barely keeping up with. A group of them who are the friends of Rainbow Brit's group are taking a break and joined their friends at the kids' table. Strawberry Shortcake, who has green eyes, peach skin, freckles on her cheeks and above her nose, and long, pink hair that reaches down to her knees. She wears a strawberry-shaped beanie, a white dress with pink straps and a large strawberry graphic on her chest, a denim jacket, green and white striped leggings, and red sneakers that have a strawberry logo on the side. Additionally, she carries a strawberry-shaped satchel that hangs off her left shoulder and rests on her right side. Lime Chiffon, a chubby Afro-Latina girl with tannish brown skin, green eyes, baby-fat cheeks, square glasses, and emerald earrings. She has brown and lime-green streaked hair in pigtails and lime-shaped hair ties. Lime wears a lime-green overall skirt with a lime emblem on it over a sky-blue t-shirt and pastel blue leggings, and lime-green riding boots. Her skirt is stylized to look like a lime wedge. Blueberry Muffin is an East Asian girl with dark blue hair tied into a very big bun, flat bangs, and twin hair strands on each side of her face. She has light skin, a small nose, and blue-gray eyes. She wears a long-sleeved sweater-like blue dress with a blueberry-shaped button on the front, a dark blue choker, light purple leggings, and brown boots. Her hair tie is light blue with a light pink flower attached. Huckleberry Pie has dark skin, green eyes, and navy blue hair. He wears a green and navy plaid button-up short-sleeve shirt over a yellow t-shirt, blue jeans, and greenish-blue sneakers. He is often seen carrying a blue acoustic guitar. Raspberry Tart has long wavy magenta hair that comes down to her waist and a green headband with a raspberry ornament on it. She has magenta eyes, light tan skin, and a mole on the lower left side of her face below her lips. She wears a white shirt with a raspberry graphic, a purple cropped jacket with folded sleeves to the middle, a medium pink double pleated skirt, purple leggings, and pink flower pattern slip-on sneakers. Sour Grapes is a fair-skinned girl with ombre lavender and lime eyes. She has natural purple hair in a choppy bob, with lime green highlights. She has a black headband with a grape on it, her dress is green and purple striped with black sleeves. She has white and black striped tights, black combat boots, and layered necklaces. She has a very punk and edgy style. She wears green eyeshadow. The table is large because of so many teens there. Rainbow Brights Group, Red Butler, Lala Orange, Canary Yellow, Patio Green, Indigo Doll, Shy Violet, Buddy Blue, Tickle Pink, Moonglow, Stormy. The Ninja Girl Bodyguards, Tsubaki, Karasu, Yukio, Sakeo, and Tachibana. Sunset Shimmers Group, Trixie Lulamoon, Juniper Montage, Indigo Zap, Sugarcoat, Sour Sweet, Lemon Zest and Sunny Flare. And their ninja bodyguards, Asuka, Ikaruga, Katsuragi, Yagyu, Hibari, Fuma, Hijikata, Ayam, Saimai, and Muramasa. You went to a Pokemon world? Trixie asks. The last member of Sunset's herd who had been touring around Equestria before she stopped and went and rejoined her herd. She's a blue unicorn with a white mane. She still wore her matching purple magic hat and cape and dress in a purple tux that she wears on stage. Her shirt barely held in check her huge melons, and her pants molded to her large peach, giving her an hourglass figure. Of course all of Sunset's group of ponies are like that, making all the girls be intimidated by their figures. Even the ninja girls' self-esteems took a hit, when they compared themselves to the pony girls. Made worse by looking at their mothers and seeing that they're only going to grow bigger. And that they can eat tons of sweets without worrying about getting fat, well they still do but it all goes to their melons and peaches. Causing the girls to mentally cry out how unfair that is, which is mirrored by their own mothers. You went to a Pokemon world? That game where you go around and collect monsters by throwing ball at them? Trixie asked Izuku. Yes, I did and it was a nightmare. Nothing like the anime at all, Izuku said. In what way? Blueberry asked. As her world also has Pokemon. Izuku began to explain to the others about how that Pokemon world works. For one, the Pokemon are living creatures in that world, meaning that the ones that eat meat, eat other Pokemon. Pokemon battles often end with the loser either hospitalized or dead. With battling wild Pokemon, just as dangerous to the trainer, who once without a Pokemon, is often attacked by the wild Pokemon, also that being wild creatures, they don't attack one at a time and just mob the trainer and their Pokemon with numbers. Pallet Town where Izuku ended up, is poverty-stricken, with few jobs or any access for the residents to better themselves, and most people try and fail to make it as Pokemon trainers. The one trainer from Pallet who even made it into the top 1000 came back all but worshipped, as nobody else had ever achieved anything similar. These two facts combined also mean that most men end up turning to lives of crime to survive. 10-year-olds are also considered legal adults, they have to pay taxes, they can be arrested. Which is why so many parents are allowed to see their child go off as trainers. Culturally, leaving home to become a trainer is tantamount to taking full responsibility for your own life and turning your back on your home for good, which is why the trainers who don't make it never come home, they haven't got one, anymore. Gym leaders bribe trainers because 4 losses in a row means their licenses are rescinded. Seeing how there are thousands of young boys all trying to become a high-ranking trainer, the gym leaders have tons of trainers challenging them every day. Nearly all the male trainers in the world have become complete washouts who have no employable skills, leaving most jobs that require technical skills to the women. Most men tended to try and become Pokemon trainers. However, the harsh truth is that not everyone can be a Pokemon trainer, more people fail than succeed. Some men realize this early enough and are able to make a change of career, but others chase their dreams until the bitter end and become unable to integrate into society. Having become an adult with no skills other than the ability to throw a pokeball makes them effectively useless. Having failed to chase their dreams, they lose their confidence. They were nothing but talk. Unreliable. They always dreamed of getting rich quick. If people like this were allowed to be police, bankers or doctors, cities would be filled with thieves and hospitals would create casualties rather than cure them. As such, most important, serious jobs in this country are handled by women. I quickly left that world, it was just too depressing. Not to mention there were people in the town checking me out to rob me, Izuku explains. Well, that has popped the idea of a fun world of adventure, Sour Grapes said. What about making friends with the Pokemon? Blue Buddy asks. From what I saw it does happen. But most of the time it is still forcing creatures to fight each other for entertainment. A video game is just a game that doesn't involve real creatures or self-aware AIs. It's nothing but a dog fight, where the Pokemon are forced to kill each other, Izuku said. I stick to video games, and not go to any world like Pokemon, Lime said and thought of something. But a world where I can build my own robot and battle other robots, sounds great. Been there, the robots do get destroyed but as they're remote controlled, it's fine, Izuku said. What about the robots you have? Raspberry asks. The robots from that Fallout world, use powerful logic engines. They're not truly self-aware, unless they're made that way. It's the reason why Toe, Muggy, and Eddie are so much smarter than other robots from their world, Shy Violet said. Both Muggy and Eddie weren't built by me, so I really don't know about them, Izuku said. A portal suddenly opens above them and Ponyhead came flying out. Ponyhead? Izuku asks as the people who aren't familiar with the flying Ponyhead race, are staring at Ponyhead. Yeah, it's me, dumb. Star sent me here as she, her family and the other humans of Muni are being banished from their kingdom. Well, unless they're in a relationship with a monster, Ponyhead said. What? Izuku asked, stunned like everyone else who heard. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 5. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author MadHat886 on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.